Grab rails, see figure 45, we'll get to that. 217, drill a 1/32 inch hole as needed in the side of the cabin were shown in the drawing. Number 218, cut and bend 1/32 inch diameter brass rod to match your hole spacing. 219, cement the brass rod in place. Let the brass rod extend out 1/16 of an inch from the side of the cabin. And I highlighted support as necessary. We'll get to that. That's interesting. Now notice on figure 45, the two grab rails in the middle of the cabin and the two grab rails at the forward end of the cabin are the same length. The two port and starboard aft left and right grab rails are different lengths. They really don't tell you the exact length of all grab rails, but some noticeable references are there. Let's discuss the port and starboard aft rails. We need to come up with a conversion. Yours might be different than mine, but we will be awfully close or right on. Looking on the left side or port side, the after grab rail is pretty obvious. It says 3 3/4 minus 1/4 inch away from the vent, 1/4 inch away from the end of the cabin here. They'll give you 3.250 inches. Now looking on the right side or starboard side, we go to the forward handrail, and it gives a total of 4 11/16. Now you got to deduct 1/4 inch away from the end of the cabin, 1/4 inch away from the vent, give us 4.1875 or 4 3/16. These are pretty obvious. Now the others we're going to have to determine. We'll calculate those. This is going to be a mouthful, so hang on. So I measured the length of the cabin model, which is 22.5 inches. Okay, I measured the drawing of the cabin, which is 12 and 27/32, or 12.65625. So I divided 22.5 by 12.65625 equals 1.77777778. So our conversion factor, our K factor, is 1.77777777. So if you look at the left side of the port side aft, you'll see 3 3/4 inch spacing from the end of the vent and 1/4 inch away from the end of the handrail, the end of the cabin. So this handrail, the total length is 3.250 or 3 1/4 inches. But to drill the holes in the cabin, you will have to deduct 1/2 the width of the brass rod, which is 0.015625 at one end and 0.015625 at the other end, 1/64 of an inch at each end. So there are two ways to measure this because we have the rest of the handrails to deal with. You can use the dimensions on this, 3.250 minus the diameter of the brass rod, 1/32 inch or 0.03125 equals 3.21875, or use a conversion factor like this. On the diagram, I measured 1 7/8 or 1.875. 1.875 times 1.77777777 equals 3.333331 minus the diameter of the rod, 1/32 of an inch, or 0.03125 equals 3.3020831. The difference between the two, 0.008333331. What a mouthful. 8 thousandths. 8 thousandths. So I am making a special jig for the grab rails out of 1/8 inch balsa, spare balsa, just junk balsa. And I'll go ahead and just glue them together like that. Now after they're glued together, it gives me a 1/4 inch to work with on those grab rails. So when you bend the 90 into them, these will all be pre-drilled. I think it'll work out real good. And then transfer the pattern to the cabin. Okay, so we transfer the figure on a piece of paper, 3.333 end to end here, and then we put 3.302 in between. You can barely see it. Anyway, so I transferred the figure over to the handrail jig, here to here, and we must come up with the supports. So with no references, I just came up with this on my own. There will be two supports in between, measured at 1.10 in between here, here, and here. And those will be transferred over to the handrail jig here and here. And we'll go ahead and make our brass handrail up and installing the supports using a soldering kit. I forgot to tell you, I'm just using inches, not the millimeters. And I set the calipers to 1.10 inches and went from there to there, marked it. Of course, it was easier to go from this end to this end, and of course, this end to this end. And we'll go ahead and use a small drill bit to drill them out, come up with 1/32. I saw an error in my center punch holes, so I corrected it. Had to correctly align the center punch holes to the horizontal line. Measure and cut our brass rod at 4 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we put the brass rod in the wire bender. It was very easy to do this. It's already marked. Just bend it like this. Ooh, over bend it. That's okay. Laying it down on our drawing, found out that I was just under 3/8. That's okay. A little bit longer here. And one thing I did find out, bend it on the line. Make a small line with your marker. So I'm using this. Okay, we have our brass rod marked. It's on the line. Let's do a quick bend. Very slowly. That's good enough for now. Okay, our handrail jig is not drilled out yet. I just have the punch marks on it. So it's a good fit. All we have to do now is make the center supports, put it in and solder those pieces up, and attach it to the model, and bring it out 1/16 of an inch from the cabin. It's a go. Well, I didn't think that building the grab rails would take so long. I had to make a Part 7 continuation of building the grab rails. Click on the link for that part. Thank you.